That's
Yeah.
a differentiator. I also think too, to your point, like how people are using, it's almost like this is some, to think about the Neanderthals, right? Someone discovered fire at some point.
Yeah.
Some people ignored fire and they perished, and some embraced
Right.
it. And you know, like I believe in God and all that, and I believe God had a hand in this, but I also believe evolution did take place because this whole
Mhm.
system of like the ocean, the ecos, it's just way too complex to be by accident in my belief
Agreed.
system. And so I think, whatever greater power above us, whoever
Hmm.
people believe, it's fine. You don't believe in something
Right.
spiritual because it's whatever. Um, but it's like, I think ignoring it now, it's like ignoring what fire can do for us. It did
Right.
more good for us than bad. You can definitely
Right.
do some real bad things with it, as we saw what happened in LA, but AI will be no
Right.
different, right? So
Hmm.
we got to make sure that we don't embrace it as arson, but embrace it as to feed ourselves, to keep ourselves warm, to survive
Hmm.
well through harsh winters. Like, and if you think about it the way I think about it is like, well, someone just discovered a wheel, someone just discovered a fire. Like these
Yeah.
are, technological advancements. And I'm gonna write an
Hmm.
article on this next week, but like as you talk about the tool and how to use it and what our kids will do, one of the I always lament like who the heck invented the 5 day work week? Right? Like who
Right.
did this? Who did this?
Yes. Who thought this
So
was a good idea?
who thought this was a good idea? But now, if you think about it, and then we talk about this firing, and this is why I want to publish it on LinkedIn because I want people to think about, well, maybe we don't need to fire people. What if in the next few years we go to a 2-5? People have a 5 day
Right.
weekend. What's happening in the Western world is that we're not moving. So what happens
Hmm.
if we spend more time with nature? What happens if we spend more time with our
Right.
spouses, our friends, our kids? What happens if we go for a walk near the river on a Thursday afternoon instead of being in a meeting and we work Monday and Wednesday and have the same output? Because at the end of the day,
Yes.
the economy, if you think about a global GDP, if
Hmm.
you can't double it every year,
Mm-mm.
right? Like there's like it just structurally impossible, I believe. And
Hmm.
so you've got a cap. So imagine if we can have global GDP grow at 5% per year, and instead of people working
Right.
5-2, we flip that on our
Hmm.
head. Now you have an advancement in humanity where the tools now
Yes.
enable us to be more humans. We're
Hmm.
meant to be around people. We're meant to go out
Right.
and go find something to kill and eat and go pick some berries and like that's
Yeah.
what we're meant to do. We're meant to be
I agree.
together and it's
Yeah.
social, right? So
Hmm.
I kind of have a much more optimistic view. And to your point around the ethical use and focus on people, I think this might, in an odd way, maybe it might make us more human again. And
I love that.
there's power, there's greed, there's conspiracy. Sure, I mean, there's always been somebody that might come slay the village over the thing. Like the history
Right.
has some very bad things that have happened, but
Sure.
good has always prevailed to get us here. And
Yeah.
so, if history repeats itself, I think that's why I want to have conversations like this to say, well, what's the good
Hmm.
that we can push forward? We have to
Right.
accept that there's going to be bad actors. There's always is. But if we
Right.
can think about the positive impact that this could make, it could
Hmm.
literally be increase the standard and quality of life for
Hmm.
everyone on Earth, right? And
Yeah.
I think that's what's kind of democratizing intelligence, right? Which was before,
Yeah.
once upon a time, not everywhere, but it is today.
Right. I love what the positive piece and the focus that you have on that. And my son used to watch Wally, the cartoon
Oh,
Wally.
Wally, yeah.
Yes. And he and I were having a conversation a few weeks ago, and I was just like, he was likening that the danger of AI is that we could make that movie come true or that cartoon come true, where humanity is advocates so much of itself to technology that we're just floating around on little floating chairs and have no bone density and no muscle memory
Mm,
left and all of this stuff. And I was like, we're kind of in a why, I think, again, as a human race, to do we advocate and get lazy and go that route, or do we embrace what you're talking about, which is my hope for us as a human race? I don't think we did this real well with email. Like, they told us email was going to do a version of this. It was going to make
right.
our life so much faster and so much
Yeah.
better, and we just worked more. And
We
so
just work
I
more.
we did, and I hope as a human race, we learn from our past in that, and we choose a different path this time. And we choose to do exactly what you're describing. We choose to become more human and rediscover some of those things that we've lost to technology? And can we really use technology to recover some of our humanity? I believe we can, but we have to make that choice to do that instead of become more lazy and advocate more authority to technology, because it will
Right.
fill whatever space we allow it to fill. And
100%.
so I love the future that you're painting. That is where my heart is as well. It is even part of what I talk to my staff about. I'm like, can you imagine a 2 day work week? Can you imagine a 4 hour work week where we're getting paid the same, if not more?
Right.
But because we're accomplishing more, we're doing better, we're doing more of what we love. Most people hate writing emails. Most people hate the routine, the mundane, the, you know, calculating data on 8 different Excel spreadsheets. Like, that's,
Yeah.
well, at least that's one of my nightmare moments of having to do that, right? I have some
Uh,
friends that's not, that is like their happy place, which is great. But whatever it is for you, like to be able to use AI to do that, to free you up from the mind numbing stuff, to do the creative, to do the
mhm.
stuff that lights our fire. Like, that's what I hope for us as a human
Yeah.
race. And that's what I hope for us in digital marketing, that we get to lean into more of why we got into digital marketing in the first place. The
Yeah.
creativity, the strategy, the watching it create more connection with people that are looking for the help that our clients can provide. Like, that's what I
100%.
hope to accomplish, with it. Now, I think that's very idealistic, but worth investing emotion and thought and brain power in for sure.
Sure. And I think I think it is important though that more people particularly find themselves in their state of genius, the things of joy. Because when you're in a state of
Yeah.
flow, I saw a chart yesterday with our brain waves and our heart waves. When we're in stress, it's opposite. But when you're
Mm,
in a state of flow, you like what you're doing, your heart and your brain are in rhythm. And what we
yeah.
do know is that stress causes inflammation,
Mm-hmm.
and inflammation causes diseases, and 90,
Right.
95% of disease states are preventable. So if
Mm-hmm.
you can solve for stress, you can
Yep.
solve for more inflammation and you can prevent more diseases. So like I think to
Mm-hmm.
your point, there's a higher order, and maybe it's crazy and maybe it's idealistic, but so was the telephone. Like why would you put a string?
Yes.
It was the stupidest idea on the planet. But yet you and I are how many thousands of miles apart, and yet we're
Right.
instant
Yeah.
in real time. So what was once sort of completely asinine
Mm-hmm.
is now a beautiful miraculous that's made us more connected. I think keeping
Absolutely.
that positive orientation is where we need to put into the world so that we
Mm-hmm.
can influence where this giant amoeba of tech is going and direct
Absolutely.
it towards a place where a 3 day work week, more time with friends and family. Think about if
Mm-hmm.
people were out and about and had the same money or making 10% more every single year about retail businesses and tourism, like all of a sudden you now have an economy that starts to feed itself when you start to put, let's just
Right.
grow at 10% a year. We don't need to like kill ourselves here. We've got the tech. Let's engineer the next 100 years. Like it sounds
Right.
crazy, but every theory was at one point in time. And so I think by
Exactly.
having positive conversations, we can push it towards a
Mm-hmm.
place where we still work 5 days a week, but we hire 50, we work 5 days a week, we hire half the people. Why not just keep all the
Mm-hmm.
people and just go work 3 days a week? You know what I
Yeah.
mean? Or find something like
Mm-hmm.
this. There's a model that could be worked out, and it's
Yeah.
easier said than done. It ain't easy, but
No.
someone will figure out the whole thing, but we can put the
Right.
idea out and see where it goes,
Yeah.
right? So
Well, one thing that I always tell my team, I'm like, I'm not going to tell you it's going to be easy, but I am going to tell you it's going to be worth it. And
yeah,
I think that's a mindset that's important to have here. Like, we're not striving for easy. I mean, we don't grow in times where things are easy. We grow in times of challenge. Our character deepens in times of challenge. We discover new depths to ourselves when we're challenged. And so that's, I think, the exciting part about this, and part of choosing to be part of the solution and to be part of the conversation of where tech's going and how we as humans interact with it and evolve with it, is we shouldn't be striving for the easiest solution. We should be
correct.
really striving for the quality solution. And those quality solutions aren't almost ever the easy ones. But
Yeah.
the satisfaction we as humans can have of overcoming a challenge is so unique and so special. And that's something I hope we never lose. And I think that's, that Wall-E scenario of like, there were no challenges in their world anymore. There was nothing to overcome. There was never that sense of satisfaction. And it was fascinating how they illustrated that in the cartoon when they finally start to try to walk again and how proud they are of themselves that they walked again, kind of a thing. But whatever the challenge is, like that is a part of human nature. That is a part of our growth, and growth is part of why we're on this planet and why we're here. Whether it's helping somebody else with their journey and their growth, and them being able to help us with our journey and our growth, like
Yeah.
it's not the destination; it's the journey that is
100%
the
the journey. Yeah.
Yes, that's the beautiful part. And AI is a part of our journey. And if we, again, advocate to it and stop choosing to be part of the conversation, I think that is truly where the real danger is. So I love being able to have these conversations with like-minded people, because you're right. I think the more that we put this out there, the more we have the opportunity to help be part of that conversation and a helpful part of
Powerful part. Yeah.
choosing the right path and not choosing necessarily the easy one.
Yeah, I look at it like energy, and we'll wrap on this because like we have this thing coming towards us, and so if we want to stop it, it's probably not going to end well. But if
Right.
we grab it, embrace it, hold on, and try to steer it, right?
Yeah.
Because there's it's going in a lot of directions right now, and
Mm-hmm.
for me, that's what kind of keeps me optimistic is that if we can
Yeah.
steer this, we finally have something. Because if you ask anybody, what do they want more of? What's the
Mm-hmm.
answer? Right?
Yeah.
More impact, more freedom, more time with my family, these sorts of
Mm-hmm.
things. And so
Yeah.
if we enable it, couldn't AI and these titanium hammer tools help us do that? Yeah, they
Yes.
could, right? And I
Absolutely.
think that's what we have to do. And what I've learned with this whole agentic AI thing is just you have to completely rewire. I'm struggling rewiring my brain where
Mm,
human oversight on top of operators when there's
right.
autonomy versus this automation, which is what we're doing.
Mm-hmm.
It's really powerful, but we kind of
Yeah.
have to rewire a little bit, and that's why I like
Yeah.
2-3 day work week or the Tim Ferriss 4 hour work week, which I don't think he
Mm-hmm.
actually does, but the
I don't think
concept of
so either.
I don't think so either. But it's a noble concept that has allowed some people to get to a place where it's okay if I work 3-4 hours a day to focus more on my lifestyle. You don't need to make
Right.
$1 million a year sometimes. Like
Right.
sometimes we have these rules or societal expectation and we walk away from
Mm-hmm.
what actually makes us human. And I
Yeah.
think we got to
Very
get
true.
back to that essence of humanity and embracing tech to enable it, protect it, solve diseases. Like there's going to be a lot of beautiful use cases out of this. A friend of mine told
Mm-hmm.
me a couple of years ago, he said, just survive 10 more years, we'll solve everything with it. And I'm like, they have like nano blood, like there's just some crazy stuff that's out there.
Yeah.
Um, and I don't know if we engineer ourselves playing a higher order, that's a whole other discussion,
Right. A
but
whole nother
that's a
discussion.
whole
Yeah.
other thing. It's like, well, what happens? Something goes like it is, but it's
Yeah.
happening. And I
Mm-hmm.
think being aware, embracing it, and trying to put positive energy into it, I think is the way that we're all going to come out of this in a much better place when we step back and re-listen to this 5 years from now.
Mm-hmm. Yes, I agree. Beautifully said. Beautifully said.
Well,
Yeah.
thank you for your time. Really appreciate your insight and friendship, and I
Yeah.
look forward to continuing to have more conversations with you. And thank you for coming on to the Management OS podcast.
Yeah. Thank you so much for having me. This was an amazing conversation.
Thank you. Have a great day. Cheers.
Thank you, you too.